Hello everyone, welcome you all. In this video, I'm going to show you how to create a SOAP project, test suite and test case. So if I just go to SoapUI application, basically it supports two kinds of projects, new SOAP project, new REST project. So basically there are two kinds of web services we have, SOAP services and REST services. And SoapUI tool supports both. So first let us start with the SOAP services. So for that we need to create a new SOAP project, and inside the project we can create multiple test suites. Inside this we can create multiple test cases. So to create a SOAP project, the first and most important thing is we need to have WSDL document, which is called as WSDL. WSDL, we can call it as a WSDL, means Web Service Description Language. So this document is clearly says what kind of services it supports as part of the SOAP. And this document always, most of the times it will be in the XML format. So WSDL document is available in the XML format. So this particular URL is representing the XML. When I open this URL on the browser, which is basically giving an XML format of the page, and which contains all the SOAP services, different services. And this is an input to create a SOAP project. And basically this WSDL document contains a different type of web services and inputs and outputs and so on. And we need to use this particular WSDL document to create a new SOAP project in the SoapUI. Now, if I just go to SoapUI, and here we can create a new SOAP project like this. We can just right click on the project and create a new project, new SOAP project, or you can just go to the file and here you can select a new SOAP project, or you can directly click on this icon. It will also create a new SOAP project. And as I said, when I create a new SOAP project, it will ask you to provide the project name and initial WSDL document. So project name, we can give any name, and here initial WSDL means here we can pass this URL. This is a WSDL document URL, or sometimes this document is available in the XML file format, and that XML file also we can browse it here. So suppose let me just create a project name. I'll say calculator, and this is my SOAP project. I'm saying SOAP, and this is my project name, calculator underscore SOAP. And when you pass this initial WSDL, you can just specify the direct URL like this. Or suppose sometimes this WSDL document is available in the XML format, then you can just browse it. You can just click on the browse, and wherever the document is present, you can just go to the document. I already have the document in somewhere. Let me just go to C drive, and here I have a SoapUI test, and inside this I have a calculator.xml. When I browse this file, open, the same file will be open. So the WSDL document will be available in the form of XML. We can access through URL, and in that case we have to pass that URL as an input in the SoapUI here, initial WSDL. Or sometimes if it is available in the XML format, in the file format, then we can browse that particular file. So currently I can browse the file, or you can pass the URL. So I'm just passing the URL for now, and this is the name of the project. So just click on the OK, and once it is done, it is importing all the web services from this WSDL document, and it is created a new project. So this is a calculator underscore SOAP. This is a new project which is created under the projects folder. So this is how we need to create a new SOAP project using WSDL. And now if I just go to the URL, so here how we will know what are the web services are provided in this WSDL document. So by seeing this huge XML, it is very difficult to find out. So what we can do is we can just install an extension which is WSDLer. So the extension name is WSDLer. So this is extension which is available for the Chrome browser. And if I install this particular extension for the Chrome, we can clearly see what are the web services are provided in this WSDL document. So for that, what you can do, just search for this WSDL. It is available as a Chrome extension, and go to this WSDLer, Google Chrome, and just add this extension to your Chrome browser. So I already added this extension which is available here. And when I click on this, it will show you all the web services available on this particular WSDL document. And you can add this extension to your Chrome browser. Now, once you open this URL, when I click on this WSDL icon, browse WSDL, and which will show you calculator SOAP. In this particular WSDL document, what are the different web service APIs are available? And there are two versions it is giving. We can take one of these versions. So this is a usage of WSDL extension of the Chrome browser. All right, so now if I go back to your SoapUI, so we have just created a new SOAP project by importing WSDL URL or WSDL document. And it is imported two versions. We need only one version. You can just remove the other version. I'm just removing it. So now I have a calculator SOAP project. Inside this, I have imported my WSDL. So this is called as a WSDL. So calculation SOAP, which contains a 4 web services, right? So these are just a request. If I just expand these nodes, you can see here, add, divide, multiply, and subtract. So there are 4 web services have provided in this particular WSDL document. So what we have to do is, once we have imported this WSDL document in the SoapUI, we have to create test suites and test cases based on this WSDL. So let me just write the steps here. So as a first step, we need to create a SOAP project using WSDL. So we have done this. So now we need to create a test suite and test cases based upon the WSDL. So if I just notice here, these are, if I expand this one and if I just click on the request one, it will open this window like this. And this particular thing will represent in the request. And here in the second window, we will get the response. Suppose here, request and response both will be in the XML format only in the SOAP services. So basically this is add request. So in the question mark, so this representing the input. So when I pass some value here, let's say 10, and here I'll say 20. And when I run this or when I send this request, which will give you a response here. So 30 as an output. So even the response also will get in the XML format. So when I run this request by passing some input, we will get the response in the same window. But this is not exactly the test case. So these are all just the request types. From the WSDL, we are directly running this request. So based on the WSDL, we need to create our own test suites and test cases. So for that, what you have to do is, in the second step, we need to create a test suite and test cases, how we can create them. So to create test suites and test cases, we need to select this WSDL, right click, and here you can find, you can just close all these windows, just right click on this. You can find one option called generate test suite. So we have to just use this option, generate test suite. So once you open this option, it will give you one more window. And here we have to select the test suite. So by default, only create is there. And here you can find 2 radio buttons. One test case for each operation, single test case with 1 request for each operation. There are 2 radio buttons are available. So what does it mean is, if I select the first option, 1 test case for each operation, means there are 4 different operations I have in my WSDL. So add, divide, multiply, and subtract. So each operation is considered as one test. Each operation is considered as a different test case. Okay, I have a 4 operations. It will create a 4 test cases differently. And suppose if I select the second option, single test case with 1 request for each operation, all the requests will be considered as 1 test case. That means all operations will be considered as 1 test case. So that is up to you how we can create. Do we want to create multiple test cases for each operation, or do you want to create 1 test case for which contains a multiple operations? So that is up to your requirement. You can choose. So currently I'm going to choose a first option, 1 test case for each operation. Now just click on this OK button. I'm selecting what are the requests currently I have in my WSDL, or you can select a few of them also. So you can select all of them or some of them. That is up to your requirement. I'm just selecting all of them for now, and just click on OK button. So once you click on OK button, it is asking to create a suite name. So calculator SOAP test suite. So this is a default name which is given, and let it be having, just click on OK. You can change this one. So this is basically, I'll say calculator. I'm just saying test suite. Okay, calculator test suite. So now I created 1 test suite, and we can just close this window. Now if I just expand this test suite, inside this you will find 4 different test cases. These are all actual test cases which have created based upon the number of requests. So there are 4 requests we have in this WSDL document, and along with this, accordingly it is created 4 test cases under 1 test suite. calculator test suite. Now add test case is one test case, divide test case, multiply test case, and subtract test case. So with this, we have created test suite and test cases by using WSDL. So now if I just expand the test case, so let me expand the first test case, you can see the test steps. So there are different test steps are available. So we can call them as a functional test step, load test, and security test. These are all the different steps we can create under one test case. So test case means test case contains the multiple test steps. So if I expand the test steps, which contains only one step currently. So add is a one step. And when you click on this, when I just double click, it will open the new window. And this is a basically a request. And here we will get the response. So we always execute the test case, not the request. So from the WSDL document, we created test suites. Inside the test suite, we have multiple test cases. Every request is considered as one test case. Now, under the test suite, I have opened my test case, and under my test cases, there are multiple test cases we have. So these are add test case, divide test case, multiply test case, and subtract test case. I'm expanding my add test case, and inside this, I can see multiple steps. We can also add load test, secure test later. We can just open the first step, which is basically a functional test. When you click on the add, it opens a window. So here we need to pass some input as part of request. Then it will give you a response. So let me just give some input. Wherever you can see the question mark, that is representing the input. So I'm passing 10 here, and I'll passing 20 here. And then when I execute this test, you can see it's a small green color arrow mark, which is a run option. When I run this, which will give you a response in the second window. So here you can see the result. And similarly, I can also run another test case. Let me just close it and expand subtract. And here under test suite, the test case, subtract test case. And here go to the steps and subtract test. Open this, and here we need to pass the data. So here I'm just passing, let's say 100, and here I'm passing 50. And when I run this test case, which will give you 50 as an output, right? So this is how we need to create a new test suite inside this multiple test cases. And if I expand each and every test case, you will find test steps. In each step, we can also create multiple test steps. Currently, which is having only one step. And here we can run the test step. So this is how we can create test suites and test cases. So when you run my test case, here we are passing some input and we are getting some output, right? But we need to also add some kind of verification point or validation point to our test case. So how we can add validations to our test case? So that's the next step. So how to add assertion? So basically in SoapUI, we can call them as an assertion. Assertion is nothing but a validation point. So once you created your test case, we are just passing the input here and we are getting the output. We are verifying manually, right? But how we can validate this? By adding assertion. So as soon as I run my test case, it should validate whether my output is correct or not in the response. So for that, what we can do is we can just add some assertion to our test cases. So how to add assertion to the test case? So let us open one test case. So add test case, and here open the step, add step, and here you can see the two windows. And here I'm passing the inputs and here I'm getting the output. So we need to validate this one, 30 is there or not. So for that, what you have to do is here we can see a small tab called assertions, right? So just select this option called assertions. And here you can find a plus button. So here we can add multiple assertions. There are so many types of assertions are available in SoapUI. In the coming videos, I'll discuss all those types. And currently I'm just going to use one assertion to validate whether the result is correct or not. So I'm just clicking on the plus button here, and then it will open the assertion window, add assertion window. And these are the different types of assertions are available and different categories of assertion: property, content, complaints, script, SLA, JMS, security, and there are different categories we have. Under property content, I'm currently using contains assertion. So just select the contains and click on add. Now here it is asking the expected value. So what is you are expecting in the response? What is the value should be there in the response? So I'm expecting 30 should be there in my response. And after that, click on the OK. So here you can also, suppose sometimes if you want to validate some string type of data, you can also ignore the case, or sometimes you can also specify the regular expression. And just I'm clicking on OK button, and then it is added assertion, and also by default my assertion is passed here, and our test step is turned into green color because now I have added a new assertion to our test case. So after that, what you can do is we can run the test. So because first time when you run your test case, I'm passing the input, right? So once you pass the input and provided, once you get the output, we have added the assertion. So from the second time, we no need to open the test case every time. We can just directly run our test case. So if I just right click on this and here, or we can just double click, it will open the two windows. From here, you can directly run it and click on the arrow mark, run button, it will run your test case. And my assertion got passed. And the other way to run the test case is we can directly select the test case like this, and you can just open it. Just double click on this, open the new window like this. And here in the test case, currently I have only one step. So here you can directly run it. So run this test case. Click on this button. So then it will run your test case. My test case got finished and it is got passed. Fine. So this is how we can add assertion to our test cases. So let us try to add the rest of the assertions. So let me just go to divide a test case and go to the step. And here I'm passing some data. Let's say 100. I'm passing 10 here. And then run the test once, and here 10 is an output. So now I'm going to add one assertion here. So click on assertion tab and click on the plus, and here contains assertion, click on add. So here I'm expecting 10 should be there, and click on OK button. So as soon as I have added assertion to the test case, which will turn into green, the step is going to turn into green here. And done. So we have added assertion for add test case, divide test case, and also multiply test case. So just open the step, multiply, and here I'm just say 10 into 10, and click on run first, and then we will get the output 100. So this is our expected. So let me go to assertion, add one more assertion, contains, add, and here I'm expecting 100. Then okay, and then close this test case. And similarly for subtract also, just open the subtract, and here 50 is expected value, and click on assertion, add assertion, contains, add, and here I'm expecting 50. Then okay, done. So now I have added assertions to all the test cases, and every test step is turned into green. Now we can see add and divide and multiply and subtract. So all the 4 test cases got turned into green because all assertions are valid. Suppose if the assertion is, suppose my expected value is different, let us say I want to modify the existing assertion, I want to update it. Then what I can do is we can just open the test and click on the assertions again. And this is a assertion we already added. So we can just right click here and configure. So if you want to still modify it, and previously I'm expecting 30, let us try to modify this value. I'll say 100 I'm expecting. As soon as I say OK here, it is turned into red because the actual value and expected value is mismatched. So my test case got failed. So if you still want to modify again, right click on here, configure, and just specify the expected value. Then okay. So now I have added all the assertion to my test cases. So for what I have achieved, we created a SOAP project using WSDL. We created the test suites and test cases, and we added contains assertion in each test case. So now we will see how we can execute each and every test case individually and group. So if I go to SoapUI, so currently how I have executed my test cases, I open my test case like this. So each test case contains the multiple steps. So this is basically step, add is a one step. And here add test case, divide test case, multiply test case, subtract test case. I have 4 test cases I have. So if you want to run individual test cases, if you just double click on the test case and you can run it from this window, you can just run it, your test case got executed. And similarly, if I want to run another test case, divide test case, double click, it will open another window, then click on this run button, which will execute. So this is how we can execute individual test cases. But I want to execute all the test cases as a group. Then how we can execute them? So for that, what we can do is we can execute the test cases as a group, again in the sequential and parallel. So for that, we need to run our test suite. So we have to select the test suite level, click on the test suite, which will give you a new window like this. in this window, there is one option called green button, like runs the selected test cases. Runs the selected test cases means whatever test cases we have in this particular suite, all the test cases will be executed. So currently there are 4 test cases we have: add test case, divide test case, multiple and multiply and subtract. So when I click on this button, so it will execute all the test cases sequentially, one after another. And if I look at here, there are 2 small icons you can see here. And these are the 2 icons you can see. And this is a run button. The first icon says, by default, the first icon is selected. So this icon is representing the sequential execution. And if I select the second icon, that will representing the parallel execution. So if you want to execute multiple test cases parallelly, you can select the second option. So now what I will do is I will select the second option, parallel, and then click on the run. And this time all test cases will execute parallelly. So once you click on this run button, now you can see all the test cases have executed parallelly, and in the quick time it is completed, finished. So if I select the first option, execution will happen serially. And when I select the second option, second button, execution will happen parallelly. So this is how we can execute our test cases sequentially and parallelly. And suppose if you want to create a small documentation for your SOAP services, so we can simply create a new document. So if you want to share this information to others, it is not exactly report. This is a document which is basically describing your SOAP project. What are the SOAP services are available? What kind of input you have to pass? What kind of response you will get? So all this kind of information available in the document. So to generate the document, what you can do is we can select this wizard, and you can find one option called generate documentation. So to get this option, we have to select the wizard here. So whichever the wizard we have used to import, we have to select the wizard and generate a documentation. And here it will ask you the output folder. So where you want to save the documentation, just click on the browse and select the folder where you want to save. So let me just take my drive E folder somewhere, and here I'm going to save. So folder name is E. I'm saying I'll say SoapUI doc. So I'm just giving a folder name inside the E drive and click on open. So inside this E drive, in this folder, the document will be created. So just click on OK button, and it is giving an error. So an error type file not found exception. So java.io file not found exception. And basically this folder is not available. So that's the reason it's giving an error. Let me just create the new folder. So go to E drive, and here I will create a new folder. I'll say new folder SoapUI doc, and this is my folder. So go to SoapUI. Now right click on the wizard, generate documentation, and now browse it and go to the E drive, and whatever folder you created, select that folder, open. And now let me open once again. So browse it, SoapUI folder, then open it, then OK button. So once it is done, so it is created a new document, and the document URL is opened in the browser by default, and a Webservices calculator, and which contains, it will perform the multiple operations. So you can see the Webservices calculator, and what are the different operations it will perform. It will give you the detailed information like add, divide, multiply, and subtract. And also WSDL code, the XML code also will be displayed here very clearly. So basically this is a documentation about your web service. And to understand what is the functionality of this web service, we can just go through this document, and this facility or feature is available in the SoapUI. Okay, so with this, what you have done is we have just created a new SOAP project using WSDL, and we created a test suite by using this WSDL and also test cases. And we have run each individual test cases. After that, we also added assertion to each test case, and basically I have used contains assertion. And after that, we have executed our test cases individually and also as a group. But when you run your test cases as a group, again, we have selected sequential or parallel. And if I just go here, when you select the test suite, you can find sequential. When I just double click here, it will open the window. Here you can select sequential or parallel, and then all the test cases which are created in the suite will be executed. So this is, and finally we have also seen how to create a documentation for your SOAP project. Okay, so that's how we have to work with the SOAP project in SoapUI. In the next video we will see few more topics. So that's all for this video, guys. Thanks for watching.